Paul wrote this letter in about 61 CE, shortly before or after his release from house arrest in Rome. The information in the letter indicates that it was intended for Hebrew Christians living in Judea. Many had been Christians for years, yet spiritually speaking, some of these had gone back to needing milk, not solid food. This put their faith at risk, because it was under attack by the Jewish religious leaders and their supporters. The opposers may have argued that Christians had no visible realities to aid them in their worship. The Jews, however, had a magnificent temple, a priesthood, animal sacrifices, the law of Moses, and a history dating back to Abraham. Paul wrote to the Hebrew Christians to strengthen their faith in the far superior heavenly realities centered on Christ. Those realities place Christian worship high above that of fleshly Israel. Paul's letter may have also been helpful to Hebrew Christians who were still holding on to the Mosaic Law. The letter to the Hebrews has 13 chapters. Chapters 1 through 3 set the theme for Hebrews by describing Jesus' elevated position. He is superior both to the angels and to Moses. In chapters 4 through 10, we see Jesus as heavenly high priest, far above the sinful Jewish high priests serving at the temple. Unlike them, Jesus is perfect and without sin. The Jewish high priests had to offer sacrifices daily for the sins of the people, and they offered animal sacrifices, which had limited value. Christ entered into heaven itself to present to God the value of his perfect human life as a ransom once and for all time. Jesus' ransom also provides the basis for a new and better covenant compared with the one mediated by Moses. Did you know? At Hebrews chapter 9 verse 9 we read, "This tent is an illustration." Paul was here referring to the earthly tent or tabernacle that Moses set up. Worship centered on that tent and its animal sacrifices could not provide complete forgiveness of sins. The far greater tent not made with hands, which is the arrangement for worshiping Jehovah on the basis of Christ's ransom sacrifice, provides all we need to have a personal and everlasting relationship with God. In chapter 10, we read that Christ's followers should meet together regularly to encourage one another, and all the more so as the end draws near. Chapter 11 focuses on faith, giving many examples of pre-Christian men and women who by faith were made powerful in word and deed. In chapter 12, we read that these courageous men and women make up a great cloud of witnesses. The apostle then points to the greatest witness of all, Jesus Christ, who is the chief agent and perfecter of our faith. Christ-like faith must, of course, be reflected in holy conduct. So Paul's final exhortations in chapter 13 include the words, "Let your brotherly love continue. Let marriage be honorable among all, and be obedient to those who are taking the lead among you." As you read the book of Hebrews, note how Paul beautifully shows the superior nature of Christian worship, how we can continue to perfect our faith as we await the end of Satan's world, and how Jesus, our heavenly high priest and the King of God's kingdom, is used by God to eliminate sin and death forever.